What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley threatens to release footage. Ahead of this weekend's UFC 301 card in Brazil, some beef seems to be brewing between bantamweight champion Sugar Sean O'Malley and flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja. During a recent video for his YouTube channel, O'Malley's coach, Tim Welsh, opened up on a sparring session between O'Malley and Pantoja many years ago, before O'Malley was a part of the UFC. As he explained, moments into a sparring session, O'Malley dropped Pantoja with a liver shot.
Henry wanted Pantoja to spar Sugar one round. Sugar, me and him were probably taking bong rips the night before. Heavy bong rips, eating snacks, snacking out, playing Xbox. Not really in fight camp at all. Going to sparring maybe to get a few rounds, and Henry's like, hey, you want to spar this guy? So Sean says, yeah, I'll spar him. They spar one round. Sean comes out off the rip, puts him down. Puts him down in the first minute. Boom. Hits him with the liver shot, puts him down. Pantoja has to stop. He has to wave it off. He has to go over to Henry, kneel down, call it off. I mean, there's a video. Never released video. But he puts him down.
Fans were quick to call for Welsh and O'Malley to release footage of the sparring session, with O'Malley then taking to social media to show a screenshot of the moment, silencing the doubters. While there's been plenty of talk regarding a potential fight between O'Malley and Ilia Topuria down the line, the latest situation could set the stage for a fight between O'Malley and Pantoja. Next up, let's take a look at Alex Pereira reveals next UFC fight. Heading into UFC 300, Alex Pereira indicated that with a win over Jamal Hill, he wanted to make a quick turnaround and fight at UFC 301 in Brazil, in an attempt to break Ronda Rousey's record for fastest turnaround time between successful title defenses. While an injury prevented him from booking a fight at UFC 301, Pereira revealed some news regarding his next bout ahead of this weekend's UFC 301 card. As he explained to media members, including MMA Fighting, through a translator, he doesn't want to wait for Magomed Ankalaev to be ready to fight.
Breaking news. Well, I think if I wait for that fight, it will take too long. I want to fight earlier than that. And I think as far as we know, most likely the next in line is going to be Prohaska. You know what I mean? Jamal Ankalaev is going to have to wait a little bit. I know Jamal has been talking some trash, but I was going to have to wait a little longer. But I think it's Prohaska the next one.
Of course, Ankalaev had previously indicated that he wanted to fight Pereira in Abu Dhabi. Given that the next card scheduled for Abu Dhabi is UFC 308 at the end of October, it seems the UFC will likely grant Pereira's wish for a fight in the meantime. Next, let's take a look at Ilia Topuria shuts down rumors. Recently, longtime UFC commentator Joe Rogan indicated that he heard Ilia Topuria turned down a fight with Alexander Volkanovski for the UFC's upcoming pay-per-view card in Perth at the end of the summer. The situation resulted in quite a bit of criticism from the featherweight champ, forcing him to clear the air. In a post for social media, Topuria wrote, "I never turned down the rematch with Alex as the UFC has never offered me this fight. As I've said many times before, I will be the first to knock out Max Holloway. Let's keep this simple. Do you want to fight? If the answer is yes, then there's nothing more to discuss. Bring my belt and your pillow." Alexander Volkanovski backed up Topuria, indicating that he had never heard of discussions of a potential fight between he and Topuria for UFC 305, and he wasn't sure where Rogan's information came from. As he explained in an interview with Fox Sports Australia,
obviously questions were asked about, what was I gonna fight on the Perth card. A lot of media were saying, they're thinking, obviously I went over there and I was the face of the event when I went over there and did the announcement. So I'm guessing a lot of people thought I was going to be on there. So he was even getting asked questions about it. So he did an interview. I reckon that's where Joe Rogan got this. Whether he got inside information, I don't know.
With Volkanovski looking to take some time off before returning to action, the next logical step seems to be a fight between Topuria and Holloway later this year. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at UFC fight updates. Heading into this weekend's UFC 301 card in Brazil, a big featherweight fight was announced for the UFC 304 card on July 27th. The bout will see two fan favorites square off, with Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze both looking to move one step closer to a crack at the title. Allen will be looking to snap a two-fight skid that's seen him drop back-to-back decisions to Max Holloway and Movsar Evloev. On the heels of Allen's recent loss to Evloev, he finds himself sitting in 6th on the UFC's official rankings going into the fight. On the flip side, Chikadze will be looking to build momentum on an August win over Bruce Leroy Alex Caceres that returned him to the win column following a January 2022 loss to Calvin Kattar. Heading into the fight, Chikadze will be entering the bout as the number 10 ranked featherweight and looking to find some consistency after just 2 fights since 2022. The card is set to take place on July 27th in Manchester, England, and although the card doesn't have an official main event or co-main event yet, the expectation is that Leon Edwards will defend his welterweight title in the main event, with Tom Aspinall defending the interim heavyweight title in the co-main. Dana White fires a fighter from the UFC. Mahmoud Muradov took to social media to reveal that he was fired from the UFC and doesn't know the reason for it. He said, "Just like you, found out this news that, as of today, I am not a UFC fighter. Yeah, a little bit shocked. Wrote to my manager. We'll see what happens more. I'm not upset about it. We'll find out the reason. We'll see what happens next. Life goes on. It's sport. Thank you all very much for your support. I really don't know the reason, but it's true. I'm just like you. I don't know the reason. Yes, I'm out of the UFC, but I'm not ending my athletic career. Within half an hour came 3-4 good offers," according to Muradov, who wrote on his social media.
I think it's safe to say things have never been so heated up in MMA, and this week we're headed to Brazil for UFC 301. This card is stacked, and you won't want to miss it. As always, we're teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook to get you in on the action. Right now, all new customers that bet just $5 will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings app now and sign up using our promo code MMAZone. The crown is yours. You heard me right. New customers that bet just $5 on any fight will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at even bigger payouts. There you can combine multiple bets together from the same fight, including how many rounds it'll go and what the method of victory will be. The more bets you combine, the more you can win. If sports betting isn't available in your state yet, don't worry. You can get in on the action with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use our promo code MMAZone and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code MMAZone, only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Next, let's take a look at Paige VanZant goes off on piece of Dillon Danis. In recent years, more and more MMA fighters have expressed a desire to make the transition into boxing. While this phenomena existed before Conor McGregor's mega fight with Floyd Mayweather, in the wake of the fight, more and more MMA fighters have continued to look for opportunities in boxing, such as Francis Ngannou's bout with Tyson Fury. During a recent interview with Misfits Boxing, MMA fighter turned bare-knuckle boxer Paige VanZant was asked about MMA fighters transitioning to boxing, with Dillon Danis being used as the example of a fighter who made the jump to boxing and didn't have things go his way. VanZant laughed at the comparison, saying that Danis isn't a fighter, sparking a reaction from the grappler, who shared a screenshot of VanZant posting an emoji under an Instagram photo years back, writing, "How fast they forget. Haha, relax, Paigey baby. Just because I didn't wife you doesn't mean you have to be petty. Don't make me bring up our 2 trips to Vegas and ruin your marriage." In a video for Instagram, VanZant fired back at Danis, unloading the clip with a scathing response.
So let's go, right? So Dillon, obviously I said you're not a real fighter. My bad, I triggered you. I understand that hurt your feelings. But instead of coming back and just talking shit about me, saying I'm not a real fighter, what did you do? You kind of backed yourself, right? You backed yourself into a corner because now you have to come with proof of this alleged affair, right? Because the only time I remember ever seeing you in Vegas was at the UFC athlete retreat. You walked up to me in a bar, asked me to peg you in front of multiple other UFC fighters, and I laughed in your face. That's not the definition of a relationship, is it?
So far, no response yet from Danis, who has since been posting on social media about the recent news of Ryan Garcia failing a pair of drug tests. Dillon Danis responded to Paige VanZant on Twitter saying, "You're crying in that video because you know I have receipts. You sell your and nasty botched job pics because you were a terrible fighter and have to support your deadbeat husband, a failed fighter turned OnlyFans who can't even support you financially. You must have forgotten why I asked you to peg me because that stank filled the room from all the alpha male gym members who've not in you. Your husband isn't with you because you're special. He's the only brain dead who said yes. You settled for him because I was just too smart to marry him." Charles Oliveira reveals shocking news. After his recent decision loss to Arman Tsarukyan at UFC 300, former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira now finds himself outside of title contention. While Do Bronx has expressed his desire to return to competition sooner rather than later, he's already eyeing his next fight. According to Oliveira, who spoke through a translator to media members, including MMA Fighting, he's offered to be the backup fighter for this summer's blockbuster UFC 303 main event bout between Michael Chandler and Conor McGregor. While Oliveira has yet to be offered the opportunity by the UFC, he is willing to accept should the opportunity come his way. According to the former champ, however, his one stipulation is that should his services wind up being needed and he finds himself in the position to fight Conor McGregor, he wants to negotiate more money for himself. He said he'd offered himself to be the alternate for that fight, and obviously he's down for that. He said he'd make some money if he doesn't fight, and if he does fight, then awesome. The only condition is, if he were to fight McGregor, then he'd have to renegotiate that before. Of course, as many fans were quick to point out, it seems unlikely that either fighter misses weight for a 170-pound fight. The way Chael's son sees things, although McGregor is a better fighter than Chandler, he isn't sold on McGregor being a better competitor. As he explained in a recent episode of Good Guy Bad Guy with Daniel Cormier,
I think that Conor McGregor is the better fighter. I think Conor McGregor is quicker. He's a little bit longer. He's got a much more awkward style. Chandler is more straightforward. But I don't know that I can say that Conor McGregor is a better competitor. I really don't know that I can say that. I don't know that he's got his eye on the ball and he's got the eye of the tiger. Now,
currently, the MMA community seems largely divided on how they see the fight playing out, with McGregor sitting at -108 odds on DraftKings and Chandler sitting at -112 odds. Conor McGregor sends a warning to Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira came out on a recent podcast and revealed that he offered himself to be the backup fighter for the McGregor and Chandler fight. Conor McGregor replied to a tweet revealing this news by saying, "I do use both in the same night, no sweat. I do use both inside of a round. Combined. I got the magic paws. Ask Rio and Sao Paulo about me and my magic, the Irish wand." Top comments. Anthony bro, you're cooked. You ain't beating anyone in the top 5. Topuria is gaining hater by the second. LOL. Dude's a fool acting like he's been a champ for 10 years. There you go, Anthony. Call MMA fans stupid. That's really gonna help out your crumbling career. Imagine Yuri versus Hamzat. That would be an interesting fight.